Hello, and welcome back to another installment of The Memory Project, in which all year this year I am reading books about memory. Here, as you can see, I am here to talk about Unraveling by Karen Lord, as well as some bonus books that I wasn't like picking out intentionally for the Memory Project, but I picked them up and oh boy, was there a lot of memory. But first, I thought, let's talk about Unraveling. I was going to my library trying to find books on memory, and they didn't have any of the ones that I wanted to read available. So I'm just walking down the aisles, and boom, I see Unraveling. And I was very, very excited. So I got it. So, Unraveling. I have so many thoughts, and yet I'm not quite sure how to convey them. So, we're going to ride this roller coaster together and hope that it makes sense. So, Unraveling starts out with like this spirit, we'll call him. Since I've been reading the Inheritance trilogy, I want to use the word godling a lot more. But so we have this godling who is talking to his mom, who is like a more powerful angel, and he's like, "I got work to do down in like the Earth realm, BRB." Then we see a woman in like present time. She is a forensic detective. Um, she just solved the serial killer case and she's out with some coworkers and they're drinking and she's like, "All right, well, I'm going to head out, tend to some things." Also, it's still really jarring to her that like they really did solve this case. So she's walking home, crossing the busy road and a truck is coming. As she sees this truck, she looks like to her left and she sees herself. And herself like winks at her and she goes, "That's weird." Then all of a sudden she wakes up. I think it said that she woke up in the dark, but she woke up like in this labyrinth with this godling and he's like, "All right, are you ready to like retrace your memories?" And she's like, "Yes, send me to the labyrinth." Now here I was confused because I was like, "I'm sorry, if I got transported to another dimension and some spirit dude was like, "Get in this labyrinth," it's a no. Or, "I'm gonna ask a couple questions." She was like so on board. So she goes through this labyrinth and there's this mermaid in a pool that is like sort of giving her these clues. And this entire time I'm confused. But I'm also cramping because it was that time of the month. So I was like, am I cramping this hard that I don't understand what is happening in this book? Um, Turns out no, things unravel. And more things are revealed, but basically, the serial killer is actually a different type of spirit that is after um I almost said immunization. That's not the word. Immortality. He's after immortality. And because of the type of spirits that like these guys are, they can die. Um just not as like mortals can die. So they have to find out who he is and what he is doing before it's too late because he's killing people and like taking parts of their body. It's gruesome in some parts. He's like taking parts of their body, and so somehow this woman is related to all of this and they need her help retracing her memories because she was on the case to try to find who he is. So she gets sent into this deeper labyrinth where though she's like walking through it, she's sent back on Earth and it's the aftermath of her getting hit by the bus and like living out the rest of her life as she tries to find who the serial killer is. It's very confusing. If you're confused by what I said, agree. I'm right there with you. I think though, this book is better digested in like one setting, like a day or two. It reads very fast and it reads like an action packed movie. Like from the beginning, we are into the story and it's a lot of information right up front. Um, and I had like read a little bit one day and went, "I'm confused." So I paused, and then the next day, later that night, I read over half of the book and was like, oh, okay, when I'm reading a big chunk of it all at once, it starts to make sense and I can start to like see the world and what is really happening and the connection of all these characters. But when I took other breaks leading to finishing the book was where I would lose some things and get more confused. So I think this is like a perfect book to take like to the park for a picnic. You just sit there and you read, you have some iced tea, and you have a beautiful time. I really want to reread this because it was so much information. It took me a while to figure out what was going on. I liked this whole like we have to comb through your memories, and in order for us to do that, we've set up a labyrinth personal to you for you to retrace your memories and tell us things that we might have missed. I really, really liked that aspect of it. That it wasn't necessarily like sitting down trying to remember a conversation. She could walk through a labyrinth and see that victim again and like have a completely different conversation, or these other spirits would infiltrate her memory and stay like on the outskirts. So while she was talking to someone, they'd be looking around for things she might have missed or things she might have like seen in like her peripheral or subconscious and not really noticed. So they're like, why is that guy looming in the background? That's a good question. I thought it was really interesting. I liked the sci-fi elements of it all. I liked the ending. I just definitely think I need to reread this in one setting and enjoy it from there. So I don't have a whole lot to say about it, but yet a lot. I've been talking for 6 minutes. The next one we're going to talk about is all her little secrets because the main character, whose name I've forgotten, let me look real quick. Elise? I think her name's Elise. Elise Littlejohn, her aunt, like great aunt, has dementia in this and lives at a retirement community or an assisted living. Actually, I think she specifically lives in a memory care facility, which is great, as she should. It was really heartbreaking and so real to hear Elise process what was going on and hearing her aunt talk to her and not know that she's talking to her, you know, like that there was a part where she came in to go visit her and I can't remember her grandmother's name right now. I'm so sorry. But her grandmother was like, "Oh, have you seen Elise? I wonder when she's gonna come like get me out of here." And Elise was like, "Oh, like she'll be around." And then was like low key trying to like hide her tears because she's literally right in front of her aunt and her aunt does not know. Or there's lots of times where her aunt is convinced that the staff is trying to poison her and she's got to get out. They're holding her against her will and that she just wants to go home. And that's a very common thing that I've experienced since my mom works at an retirement slash assisted living place that has a memory care center. That is a common thing of some patients thinking that they're being poisoned or they're being spied on, they're being held against their will, or you know some very drastic things can happen. I have seen people have meltdowns in the hall when I'm just visiting my grandparents or visiting my mom, and them think that they're in a completely different place, or not realize that their child or their significant other is right there next to them. They think they are completely somewhere else. It's very, very sad. And this book depicted it really well. When her aunt was introduced in the memory care center, I full on cried. I was washing dishes, I cried. I cried hard. I cried hard. Cried hard because I had, was this not happened? Yeah, I had visited my grandparents, and I think for a second my grandpa did not know who I was, um, until I was like not leaving, like I was hanging out with them, and then I think he remembered who I was because he said my name. Um, but when I first walked in, I do not think he knew who I was, and that was jarring. And I tried to like joke and like make it a funny moment, and then it wasn't until I was telling my mom, and my mom was like, "Honey, he might not have known who you were." And I was like, "Oh, you're so right. Oh, you're right." And it's a very hard thing to sit and process, and this book did that so well. I thought I don't want to like spoil the end. So if you're interested in spoils, um fast forward until this cover is no longer on screen. At the end of the book, I'm gonna pause. Did you fast forward? Okay, cool. At the end of the book, Elise uh takes her great aunt out of memory care and says that she's going to take care of her on her own on their farm. And that's a huge task to do. Bravo to her. Um and I thought that that was really sweet. It sort of to me felt like there was like a glimmer of her aunt gaining a little bit of memory back, and I don't think that's super realistic. Seeing how far she was with her memory loss, but I thought that it was really sweet because Elise had reached a point of like wanting to be with her family very much and was like, "Nah, I'm gonna take care of my grandmother and we're gonna be on a farm and we're gonna live our best because she has the money and the resources to do so." And so that made me really, really happy that that she was doing that. And I thought it was really sweet. I thought the book, phenomenal. Check it out. It's a great mystery. Um Mystery thriller. Kind of slow going. There's a lot of discussions in this one. It deals heavily with white supremacy. Um and yeah, it's a very wild story. I thought it was really well done. I think I read this in February. Nope, I finished it on March 1st. I think I started it in February. I listened to the audiobook. The audiobook was very, very good. I recommend. All right, let's turn this one off. Moon Witch Spider King by Marlon James. OMG, this has a huge memory plot. I was reading this with Yanni, and she had messaged me and was like, "This can go to your memory project." And I was like, "You're so right. You're so right. It really can." So, this is the second book, so I don't want to like say too much and spoil anything, but I reread Black Leopard Red Wolf with Yanni. We love it. And then when Moon Witch Spider King came out, we read it together and I loved this book so much. So this is following Sogalone, and we start from when she is a child, and then it leads all the way up to the events that happened in the first book. Um, I want you to discover that for yourself if you're looking forward to reading this book. Um, but there is a character in here that manipulates people's memories to an extreme extent. An extreme extent. And there were so many times where you were questioning like the validity of Sogolone's memory and also other characters' memories because it was like everyone is being manipulated to such an extreme degree. And we see Sogolone throughout her life. And when we finished the book and we talked, we were speculating like, okay, when did these things really happen and when was this her memory and not some manipulation over here. And oh my gosh, it was just so good. It was so good. It was so good. I loved this book so much. I'm so excited for the third book because I think the third book is also going to have a really strong sense of memory. I think there were hints of it in Black Leopard Red Wolf for sure. There are definitely like hints for it, but this book it is like front and center the manipulation of memory, and I found that very, very intriguing because I kept asking why. That was the main thing that Yanni and I kept talking about was, well, okay, cool, you have this talent or ability. I don't want to call it talent. Cool that you have this ability. Why? Why are you doing it? Why is it happening? What you trying to get? What what's happening? And I'm really excited to get those questions answered in the third book because when I tell you Yanni and I have wild theories, we have wild theories. We are trying to figure this out. We are studying maps like I've never studied a map before. If you've seen the 10 and 9 doors map of these books, the way we have our eyes on it at all times trying to figure it out, and how even that map has some memory hints within it. Oh my gosh, it was just beautifully done. I really, really loved this book. It's I would say Black Leopard Red Wolf is not a book that I recommend to everyone. I've talked about it here on my channel how I think the marketing campaign for this was just dumb. It's not the Black Game of Thrones, no matter what you read. It's just not. That's just not what this is. I loved Moonwitch Spider King so much. The tone of the second book is completely different. Um, and that was so cool to see such a drastic change and like a different form of storytelling. Oh my god. It was just so good. It was so good and I'm constantly thinking about it. And that's sort of it for the memory project updates. I'm reading another one that I'm going to be making a specific video for because I got a lot of things to say. Got a lot of things to say. I'm probably going to yell a lot. So I'll push the mic backwards. No. But thank you so much for watching and listening to me talk about all of these books. Again, if you have any recommendations for memory book for memory books, please let me know. You can drop them in the comments. You can DM me on Instagram, whatever. But yeah, thank you for watching and have a beautiful day. Bye.